Last week, Luke talked about Acts 2 and how Jesus' followers in those early days were really devoted to Jesus in everything that they did, in his way of doing things. They had a good balance of time with God, time with each other, time to serve and time to welcome. They were outward looking rather than inward looking, and their aim and celebration was to see more and more people come and belong and do the same. So as the movement grows, we see them build this rhythm of life. But there's also a story that comes before this passage that Luke looked at last week, what we would celebrate as Pentecost, that will be coming up in the next couple of weeks. When the disciples were gathered together, God's Spirit interrupts. As the disciples are finding their feet after Jesus' death and resurrection and ascension, they're working out well, what comes next? What does the next step look like for us? And God's Spirit interrupts, blows this almighty wind through the building, and they speak in different languages that they've definitely not learned on Duolingo. The message was this, that this was never just for you. This was for the whole world. That possibly this idea of God's special people that we'd seen so far wasn't about how we keep this exclusive, but how do we grow the family? With the linguistic limitations Jesus' followers had, then it'd be easy to say, well, they don't speak our language, they don't get our culture, we can't possibly share the good news with them, and there's nothing we can really do about it. But now it can no longer be just for a small group of people, it can be for anyone. And we're reminded that what difference and diversity enable us to do. It gives us a greater reach, a greater invitation, a greater understanding, a bigger strength and depth of understanding that is both beautiful and powerful. And as they embrace both the beauty of that and with their devotion to Jesus hand in hand, we see in the Acts 2 passage more and more people and diversity added to their numbers every day. I sometimes wonder what that might look like if that happened again today. Imagine the breadth of languages and cultures that might include. Might it include things like Makaton or other forms of sign language and communication? And maybe it was never only for what others could understand and learn from Jesus' followers, but what could Jesus' followers learn and understand from them?